isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist. The quote I just mentioned was said by Michelle Obama. The way she influenced people's life and made a difference. I'm really happy and excited to have the guest today who has made difference in not only my life, but a lot of young optometrists back in India. I'm privileged to have Dr. Rizwana Husiandeen, who is with us today. She is the head of the department for binocular vision and vision therapy clinic at Sankara Netralaya. She's also an assistant professor at Elite School of Optometry. Her achievements are beyond my description that I could kind of make justice to, but just a glimpse of one big achievement which we all respect her for is she being the first Indian optometrist to get the Diplomate from American Academy of Optometry. Thank you, Dr. Rizwana, for being part of this podcast and a warm welcome.
Hey, thanks, Ukti. Thank you so much. It's equally my honor and privilege and pleasure to be here with you today for this podcast because I don't know how much of what you say I deserve it, but I am equally amazed at your career trajectory and the way that you've taken optometry from India to the United States. So you are equally an inspiration to me, and I'm really glad to be here today with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It truly means a lot. Just diving directly to the podcast, a quick question which I ask to everyone. Tell me a brief summary about your journey so far. Starting with one basic question: how did you stumble upon optometry? Was it planned or was it a wonderful accident in your life?
The answer to this question is definitely not going to be unique because my experience is very similar to uh, many people who stumbled upon to optometry for sure. So, as you rightly said, it's a beautiful accident, an accident of serendipity, basically, I should say. So, I was always passionate about medicine and healthcare, and I wanted to become a doctor right from childhood. I don't know why, but right after high school, due to my family situations, and I'm from very much middle class family, and so I couldn't get into medicine school at that moment. And so my school headmistress, Mrs. Ranjini Walser, so she said there is something called optometry, and especially because I'm from Chennai, so she said there is this elite school of optometry, Shankar Netralaya, which is apparently the number one school for optometry in the country. And she said, why don't you go and try there, because it's going to, I think, suit the passion and interest that you've got. And that's how I just went to the elite school and gave some entrance and interview, and god knows, like, I got selected into the program, and right now I'm talking with you.
Right.
That's how optometry threw up to me 15 years back. Yeah.
I would really like to thank your mentor who directed you to optometry, because only I think that gave us a privileged mentor, someone who has changed the field of Indian optometry and binocular vision in a very special way. So, special thanks to her. Moving on to how did you decide upon binocular vision? Because as much as it sounds very interesting, it is equally challenging.
Uh, so that's again a very interesting and a question close to my heart, I should say. So in optometry school, you're always exposed to a variety of subjects, right?
Right.
Right from first year. And so the first 2 years, of course, it was all really basics of optometry and a lot of optics and general anatomy and physiology and things like that. So I always had passion for anatomy, neuroanatomy, brain, and the processes of brain and things like that. So in the third year, when I was introduced to the subjects of pediatric optometry and binocular vision, it just felt to me that we as optometrists have got really great scope and potential in this particular field.
Right.
And I really felt that this is really like the core optometry area that make difference to many people's lives. And I was just having this idea, and I was also exposed to a lot of, like, early time researchers that you are aware of, like Hubel and Wiesel's, the Nobel Prize winning experiment of
Right.
exploring the critical period of neural plasticity in amblyopic visual system, the cat experiments and things like that. So I was just getting very fascinated and inspired by these contributions. And then in the final year, when I was given these clinical postings, and then I just go to the pediatric ophthalmology department and see these children and adults and babies with a lot of binocular vision problems. it occurred to me that this is our
Hmm.
area, this is something that we really need to explore, and that's how it all started.
Wow, wonderful. As much as you have been in optometry, specifically binocular vision, when we literally had probably one or two instruments to kind of assess and manage any binocular vision anomalies. And now you're seeing how technology and things are changing and the entire face of vision therapy. Can you tell me what your thoughts about how was the journey been, especially in India?
Right. I mean, as you say, technology is everywhere now. Technology has creeped into, I think, everybody's lives, and we can't deny that.
Right.
Definitely in optometry, in healthcare and medicine as a whole, technology has really, really contributed quite a bit. And so, binocular vision is not an exception. And when we started to practice like 10, 15 years back, all that we had was like this big, bulky synoptophore and then this small little cat card,
Right,
and neither the practitioner nor the patient had anything else other than these two.
right,
Of course we can't deny the value that these instruments provided, but it was time for us to really think out of the box, to look at options where it can ease out the workload of the practitioner, and it can also help the patient in terms of being able to objectively monitor and progress their improvements. So
right,
in that sense, computerized vision therapy practices, I should say, definitely made a leap in the practice of binocular vision.
right.
So when it comes to diagnosis, I would always say, like,
Hmm.
the knowledge and the skill set and the heuristics of the practitioner definitely is more important, because binocular vision and pediatric optometry is one area where the examiner's skill set and knowledge is super important.
Right,
But when it comes to management, and you think about this little child who finds it very boring to really, use this cat card or any other tool that you give them, but when you show them a game based platform where
yeah,
and then they can also improve their binocular vision. So I think computerized vision therapy has made it possible. And moreover, now it becomes possible for the doctors to be able to remotely monitor their patient's progress. Like, patient can sit at any place in the world, and then they can do these exercises.
right,
The doctor or the practitioner can monitor the patient's progress and give comments online. And so definitely computer based vision therapy has done that advancement and has helped practitioners and patients.
right.
Then the next thing is this virtual reality stuff that you would know, like the virtual reality tools and gadgets, like in amblyopia therapy especially.
Right.
Virtual reality based tools are have entered into the market, and even we are using a couple of them
Yeah.
at the clinical trial stage. But definitely children and patients are enjoying the use of these tools, and it's a double edged sword, I should say. Like, it's about optimizing the use of these tools for just the betterment
Hmm.
of patient care, and also make sure that they don't occupy a major portion of your management. So I think it's all about using it to your advantage. I mean, so that's how technology has helped
Right.
us in binocular vision, I should say.
Right. But one thing which I have significantly seen with these technology is the compliance. Little bit of vision therapy back when I was practicing in India, I did see compliance was a huge hurdle. With these new technologies, I'm sure this is coping up and giving better performances and improvement plans for the doctor as well as for the patients.
Well said, well said. Because technology has really like improved compliance to a greater extent, I should say.
Hmm.
Because earlier, like, people would drop out of the treatment, not because they're not interested in improving their eye condition, but because whatever tools that we've had was boring enough to just drop out of it. And but now, with the use of, as I told, the computer based tools that would objectively show them the progress that they are making,
Right.
now that they are self inspired and motivated to use it. And then they also know, okay, now that I've reached the normal levels that are required for my eye condition, they need not do it like eternally, but
Right.
so these tools have helped them to objectively monitor their progress, and the compliance has improved because of this. Yeah.
Okay. Now, talking about this new technology and how it has advanced all over the world. I know you're one of the pioneers who have brought this technology to India and Indian optometry. Can you share about the journey? How were you exposed to these new technologies and how were you able to successfully bring it in the practice?
A very interesting question. And so, as you would know, I always had this kind of search for advancing the knowledge and things like that. So when I was just practicing, and like 10, 12 years back, I got an opportunity to, visit the United States and pursue a fellowship from the College of Optometrist in Vision Development. So at that time, I got an opportunity to observe the binocular vision and vision therapy practices at some of the places like the State University of New York and Dr. Jeff Cooper's practice and things like that. And that's when I really understood
Mm-hmm.
the state of art facilities and the infrastructure that the US optometrists have got in this niche area. So after this training and fellowships, I came back to the
Mm-hmm.
institution, and then I proposed to the management and my mentors that it's time to really set up such a state of art facility in our practice, and definitely we being the pioneer in the eye care in the country, so my administration and mentors at Shankar Netralaya was equally excited to do that, and that's how the
Right.
establishment of the binocular vision practice started in India.
Thank you so much for then bringing all the new technology from a different part of the world to help Indian optometry and the patients. A little away from binocular vision, a little tricky question. What do you like more? Do you like teaching or research? Luckily, I have been part of both phases with you. You were my mentor during my masters, and we did a research project together. So I have seen you being equally passionate on both the sides. But what is something very close to your heart?
It's definitely a tricky question, but it's not a difficult question though. So I have done this. I have asked this question to self many times. Like I've done my own self podcasting. Like I would stand in front of the mirror and ask Rizwana, "What are you really passionate about?" Clinics, teaching, research. Because at one point I was just feeling that I was doing too many things, and should I just restrict to one area or just focus on one thing. So I've always had this thought within me, and that's the reason I was just reflecting upon this question basically. So but I think I do have an answer.
Hmm.
And so earlier days when I was just starting to practice, and then I see something very unique or something that that for which I didn't have an answer to, I would just go and refer to the textbooks and things like that. And sometimes I felt that I didn't have answer to all the questions that I have had, and that is when I just got introduced to some of the mentors that I had. For example, like my master's work was all about looking at the better eye in amblyopia. So when I was just examining
Hmm.
patients with amblyopia, I saw that the better eye of children with amblyopia, the visual acuity levels were not as good as that of what is expected for their age. So when I was just having this question and I
Hmm.
was just walking in the corridor, I met one of the researcher like Dr. L.S. Varadarajan, who apparently happened to be my master's mentor. And he also had an equally a challenging question, and he was also interested in amblyopia. So we said, okay. He asked me, why don't you do your master's in this particular area? And that's how my master's research started. And at the end of 2 years, we did get a very concrete answer to why this happened, and we published that in the Journal of American Academy of Pediatric Ophthalmology and Strabismus. So this journey, this research journey, led me to the conclusion and notion that research is definitely an integral part of practice. Like now you call it evidence based practice, but we didn't know these terms before.
Yeah.
So what I all knew was like
Right.
there are a lot of unanswered questions when you practice, and when you want to even teach these things to your students, you don't have answers to everything. You
Right.
don't have answers to all the process and phenomena and mechanisms that you see. But it's not that these are impossible answers, and it's not that you need sophisticated tools and technology and equipments to explore this. If you just keep your eyes and ears open and even look at the visible clinical signs and symptoms that are just showing up before your eyes,
Right.
and if you've got this inquisitive mindset basically to just question everything that occurs to you, I think then you are automatically a clinician researcher who who apparently also happens to do justice to your teaching, because
Right.
when you teach you have to tell people, okay, this is what we know, this is what we think we know, and this is what needs to be explored further. You need to tell this very clearly to the students so that they
Right.
get opportunities to explore what is really, like, left unanswered, or what doesn't have the clarity yet. So I think
Right.
you cannot separate everything in isolation and say this is important, that is important. To me it's not this or that, to me it's always this and that. And I think that's what makes you a better clinician as a whole, because now you're able to even talk confidently to your patients and tell them, like, what you think works and what you think does not work. I mean, I think it's basically a very holistic approach, I should say.
Right. Another thing which is commonly brought up in by most of my guests, and I agree to it, is the kind of patients, the number of patients we do have back in India, the exposure we get clinically is huge. So getting this research background to kind of utilize it in a clinical setup definitely helps in bringing answers to many of those unanswered questions. So that is something which I'm really proud of being an optometrist from India.
Very, very, very true and well said, Upti, because for you to really gain that knowledge and skill set, it's not just important to read, but also to be able to apply these in real life and then learn through that real life experiences, right? So in
Right.
India, we always have this great, great opportunity to see all the conditions that people would otherwise see just in textbooks. So
Right.
the massive number of patients that we've got, I think we've got the perfect situation here. It's only about marrying these numbers with the advancements in knowledge. I think it's just all about putting things together in perspective, and we are definitely in the best situation, I should say.
Now, coming to the biggest achievement which we feel as an Indian optometrist is you getting the diplomate in binocular vision from American Academy of Optometry. It was huge because one thing is I had seen you study and struggle. Like I was a student and you were putting many hours more than me, and I was more nervous than you were. So how did that diplomate happen?
Ah, so yes, of course, it was a I didn't aim for a diplomate as such, but what I was always aiming for is to go to the next step and next step, because
Mhm.
as you would know, when you are in a safe environment, sometimes, like, you've got everything in place, you've got the necessary infrastructure, you've got all the advancements, you've got these mentors in place, and then you reach a certain level, and then you go to this mode of complacence. The complacence button is on. I mean, you're like,
Right.
yeah, I think I've reached this maximum level in my profession, in my career, and yeah, I'm the best. So you get
Right.
this feeling automatically. And so, but I always had this self reflection, that I should say, that I felt that there was always this huge gap. And I'm like, when I would read these textbooks, like,
Yeah.
the textbook for binocular vision by Dr. Mitchell Scheinman and Bruce Wick, I always somehow, I think maybe it's some karmic connection between us, but I would always feel that, this is a person that I have to meet, I have to meet, I have to meet. And something was telling me inside, and if I get an opportunity, I should meet this person. And you were there with me
Yes.
when I met this what I should say, like, my mentor, my whatever, my guru,
Yeah.
like, yeah, so 5 6 years back in the American Academy meeting. And so you and me were just walking over in the corridor, and he was just
Yeah.
walking on the other side. And I'm like, Ukti, I'm going to meet Dr. Mitch now, he's there.
I actually have to stop you and say that was the first time I saw you starstruck. Like it was usually with celebrities that we would get, but I could actually see the spark in your eyes, and you're like, I can meet you later. I have to meet this person right now.
Right. So somehow I was always, inspired by him, by his writings, by this whole
Mhm.
textbook, because among many other books in binocular vision, this book stood out because it really provided the necessary clarity that is required for everybody and anybody who's practicing binocular vision. So I was
Mhm.
always, like, inspired and wanted to meet this person. And so when I just stumbled upon, to his visibility, 5 6 years back, and I had just started, I think not 5 6 years back, even before that, I guess, like 2013 kinds. And so when I just met him, and then I shared about, Dr. Mitch, I'm Rizwana from India, and I'm passionate about binocular vision, blah blah blah. And then he says that, I would be happy to help you. And then he stood up to his commitment. And first I thought, oh, such a busy man and doing so many things. Like, he was the principal investigator for the NIH funded trials, the convergence insufficiency treatment trial, and he was having so many things on his plate. But what I understand is that if you have this calling, like if you have this strong desire, and I think the universe definitely helps you to conspire what you want. I mean, I think I'm a strong believer in that, though I'm sounding philosophical. So but the way he took me from there on was like,
Hmm.
was definitely something I should say. Like, he would then keep sending me all the materials and necessary things required for me to read. And he would say, like, this is where I think you need to improve, this doesn't make sense to me. And so he kept on training me, and that took me to the this process of diplomate, which was definitely a long process, like supposed to be a 5 years process, but luckily I finished in 3 years. And Dr. Mitch is definitely a great source of support, who helped me do this. So the first time I took the diplomate exams, I failed. I mean, I'm really glad that I failed, and I'm happy to be sharing it in this forum, because many people think that when you fail, they take it in two ways. One, they think that either you don't deserve to be doing that, or they
Hmm.
get so frustrated that they don't have courage to really go and, like, try it the next time. But I should say, like, as long as you have this passion, and you have this courage and things like that, just go ahead and do. How many ever times you fail doesn't matter, but every time you fail, what really matters is what you learn out of this experience. So I learned more from this experience of failure than I learned from anything else. So I really knew where I stood, like what I really had to improve upon in my knowledge and skill set. So I practiced more, I practiced much more harder. I read more books than I had ever read. And I took many exams that Dr. Mitch would send me online, like, through emails. He will send me question papers to answer and send it back to him. And he trained me such that, successfully in 2018, I kind of managed to finish this clinical diplomate in binocular vision, pediatric optometry, and perception. And I'm really glad that I did it, because it helped not just me, but also I think Indian optometry as a whole. Because now I'm so proud that Indian optometry is not in any way less compared to optometry in other parts of the world, like even for that matter United States, provided that you are ready to put in that number of hours and hard work, and your energy into advancing yourself. I think nobody can stop you. That's what I have to say.
I really like the takeaway from this entire conversation we had on this question was, do not fear from the failure but learn from it. And I don't know whether it's fortunate unfortunate, I was with you when you failed your first diplomat exam. And I had seen you literally so upset, you and I had seen you work 3 4 nights before that. So I was there, but the way you came back and you were like, it's okay, I'm going to do it next year, and you were able to do it. So you have been a constant inspiration for people who know you closely, but I'm sure after listening to this podcast, many people will be pursuing things which they might have left because of some failures. So thanks a lot for sharing that. Another thing which I really appreciated was you did not leave it right then. You have been, as I've mentioned multiple times, you have been the flag bearer for, like, new things bringing in India. Now you're bringing a chapter of American Academy of Optometry in India. How did you think about it, and how did that all happen?
Yeah. So Ukti, you've been there with me almost, like, for many years. Whenever we would travel from India together, and
Yes.
now fortunately you are settled in the United States. So, uh, but I'm still in India being a torch bearer. So, and
Yes.
you are still, you are a torch bearer sitting in the United States. I mean, all of us in our conversations, we used to talk about this, right? I mean, how to bring
Right.
visibility for Indian optometry. Like, in this conversation itself, we saw the potentials that Indian optometry has got in terms of the massive number of patients that we see. But
Right.
in all our years of attendance at the American Academy, I realized that the number of Indian optometrists attending these meetings were very less. So then, when I really looked into it, definitely number one is that it's not people are not interested, but it's because they don't have the necessary support in terms of being the financial support, or in terms of being able to leave their practice for a week and travel, like overseas. So there were a lot of other logistical constraints to this entire process, but nonetheless, many Indian optometrists continue to have this passion and drive to really attend meetings like these. So in our discussions, like with Nilesh and Lakshmi and many other like-minded people, we realize that definitely we need to now bring this expertise from United States to India. And so what are the ways?
Mhm.
So when we brainstormed about this, we realized that there is an opportunity, there is an option that we can actually bring in an Indian chapter of the American Academy. And so in my last meeting at the American Academy in Orlando, we got to discuss with the chair of the international chapters. And they were it's not that it's so surprising, like when you make that step towards your goal, it's so surprising to see like how things turn up, like how things turn out. So that's what happened. So when I just wrote this email to this American Academy chair for international chapters, Dr. Chang, and he would just reply back saying, let's meet. And we met, and then they were all very supportive for this whole initiative. And so we then wrote to all the Indian optometry fraternity who had finished their fellowships from the American Academy, and now it's almost in the final stages of registration, this Indian chapter of American Academy. So I think it's and when this chapter comes up, definitely I think the next step would be to bring
Wow.
the American Academy to India, so that now people in India can really pursue their fellowships and take their dreams forward without having the necessity to travel all the way overseas, so that they would be able to upgrade their optometry career to the next level. So we are all very excited about this advancement that's happened, I should say, with the American Academy.
I was really happy because I was part of that email that you sent, and I really feel with all the global collaborations happening around, it wouldn't be further away where people can actually collaborate, work together, and learn from each other without actually traveling. So I definitely see optometry becoming more global than concentrated to just one or two countries.
Very, I mean, well said actually, because with the advent of technology and things like that, now, I mean, even without traveling, now the global webinars and conferences are happening online. I mean, the time is not too far when you would be able to just sit at home and attend to or listen to these experts talking from all across the globe. So definitely I think that's how technology is really helping you. But definitely meeting somebody face to face and interacting with them is always, that experience is so very different.
Yes.
And yeah, so I think so bringing this American Academy of Optometry to India, I think is we foresee that we envisage that this is really going to make another paradigm shift in the way that Indian optometry and optometrists can advance their careers. So we're really looking forward to this inauguration of this international chapter. Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you have any timeline when are we planning on starting? I'm just curious.
So basically the application, I think, is almost done, and the necessary signatures are obtained now. And when this goes off, maybe the coming week, so as soon as the chapter is registered, I think then the next step is to now show some action,
Wow. Okay. So it is going to be a action full 2020 for the
200%.
Indian optometry, right? With this new chapter coming in. Wow. I like all the action happening in 2020 because it's such a special year for all of us.
Exactly. And I should actually thank even the American Academy of Optometry as such, because I think one of their vision and mission is to really take optometry to the next level by all these international collaborations and things like that. So I think definitely I think this Indian chapter is definitely going to show some positive progress and leap and the potentials of Indian optometry. I mean, I think the world is going to know about the talents of Indian optometry. That's what I am envisaging. Yeah.
Now, I do know that we had this conversation offline about how people can grow in optometry, because as much as we say optometry in India is growing and there's a lot of opportunities coming up, v- there is a lot of anxiety in people. What should they do? There are optometrists who feel that there are more opportunities outside and they would want to explore, which isn't wrong, but I know you did mention that you would like to share how can they grow their practice within India with all the tools and the facilities that we have currently. Would you like to share some of your thoughts on that idea?
Yeah. So I've thought about it, like, as I had mentioned to you during our conversations, that me coming up to this stage, or it's not a big surprise, I should say, like, because I did have the infrastructure, I did have the mentoring support. So when I always think about, I don't really consider it to be like a super achievement kinds, because if I had
Mhm.
not succeeded, then definitely it's a it's something I have to blame my own self, because you have everything in front of you, but still you've not made use of it, right?
Mhm.
So that is how the I see my growth as, like, because I've had the necessary infrastructure and support systems. But when it comes to Indian optometry as a whole, yes, I agree that there are many people who are passionate about, but still don't know where to start or where to go. But what I would say is that make use of the meetings that are coming up in India. For example, uh, I think Nilesh and Yeshwant and, even you
Yeah,
were involved in this whole process. There's this masterclass
right.
optometry
Yeah,
where people, all the young optometry minds got to meet with these inspiring mentors from all over the country.
right.
Now, who is stopping you from attending this meeting? And then there is this ESO's International Vision Science and Optometry Conference. Like, we do it every year as Dr. E. Vaidyalinga Memorial Scientific Session. Once in
Yes,
5 years, we do this as an international conference. In 2020, August 13 to 16, we've
yes,
got everybody from all over the world coming in, from Professor Mitchell Scheinman to everybody in contact lens to, low vision care to sports optometry to, you ask for it, we have it kinds.
wow,
So everybody is coming, who is stopping you to attend this meeting? So
right.
it's only about, as I told, taking that next step, and then making a commitment to your improvement. It's not about, wishing. It's not about, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to go here, I want to do that. No. Now, what is that first step that you've taken towards that particular goal of yours? And these meetings are definitely, I should say, is a great boon for the young talented optometrists to come meet your mentors and your potential collaborators and your networking group and like-minded people, and then start your conversations there, and take the necessary action, I should say. That's the first thing. The
Yeah,
next thing is, as I told, using the clinical research as a tool. Now that you've got this massive number of patients with you, like, wherever you practice, you have this patient in front of you, like, you can't deny that I don't get to see these patients. Now,
right.
how do I use this skill set and knowledge that I have acquired? So write it up, write in the form of case reports, write in the form of clinical papers or whatever it is, and then get to publish it. So this is the next thing that you can definitely, I mean, when you think of a publication, people think it's really too complex and complicated. I mean, not at all. Like, just take the help of a mentor. So identify your mentor and take their help and support, and then start it somewhere. And the next thing is, of course, you can go
Mhm.
for some advanced training and fellowship programs. Many institutions offer clinical fellowships and trainings for very short terms, like beginning from 6 months they
Right.
have these training programs. So just break the kind of barriers that you've got within you. I think all the limits that you have imposed upon is only within you, it's not outside you. Now, who told you, Ukti, to explore
Mhm.
a very new field in optometry, like telemedicine and things like that? Who told? Did anybody hold your hands and tell you, Ukti, please go and do telemedicine?
No. No, I think my only thing that I had in my mind is I'm not going to leave optometry wherever I go. So that was my only driving force, that I'll do everything in eye care I can, possibly in my control. So I completely agree. Have one goal and work towards it, and then destiny will make you reach to your goal in surprising way, probably something which you might have not even thought about.
Very true, very true. All the students that I have got, like, with in all these periods, I just observed this one unique, uncommon pattern among all of them. They all have this drive to break the status quo. They don't. Nobody wants to blame their own situation, saying, I didn't do optometry in the best institution. I didn't get to practice in the best hospital. I didn't have the best infrastructure. I mean, I think it's time to stop all these blames. Not everybody gets to study at the Harvards and the Stanfords, but aren't people successful throughout the world? So it's time that we
Right,
stop blaming these different external factors for not being successful, and really look at the potentials that you've got within you and see how you can use that to take your own career and life as a whole to the next level. I think it's just you have to have the right question.
right.
Identify what is the question, and the answer will just dawn upon you at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And just to add on to one of the thing you mentioned about choosing a right mentor, I feel it is not necessary you know who is the right mentor. Try connecting with 10 people, and I have seen with my personal experience, whether it was you, whether it was Nilesh sir, whether it was Lakshmi ma'am, Stuti, Vinod, whoever you talk about, everyone I approached were humble enough to help me as a mentor. So it's all about you approaching these people who you think can guide you, and I'm sure the doors will open on its own. So I personally have learned a lot from all of you, and I would recommend everyone to just start a conversation, and then you would not know where the things will end up.
Very, very true, very true. And some people in optometry actually have got dreams out of optometry also. Like, for example, now you doing a podcast, right? Uh,
Right.
you wanted to only do optometry, but you also had this passion, and you have a natural talent and inclination towards speaking, establishing connections, and also like what I should say, a tech savvy social media person and things like that. So you now integrated these two. So if somebody is
Right.
very passionate about art or music, and still you're passionate about optometry, think about ways. I mean, I know this young optometrist called Marui, whom I met very recently.
Yes.
So she is super talented and super creative about making these nice art, and she's her talent. If you see visually, then you will know what
Yes.
what she has gotten within her. But then how she's using it to optometry, like, so she realized that okay, she's a very talented artist. So she's now into ocular prosthetics, and looking at how she can put that to application of ocular prosthetics, and helping patients see or having a better life in terms of having
Better
a good
cosmetic.
cosmetically appealing, yeah, appealing prosthesis. So I think it's all about integrating whatever passion that you've got. So I think it's about just exploring.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Before we end this podcast, I have to ask you this question. Usually I ask people to give one takeaway message, but specifically for you, I have a twist that you are a mother, you are a teacher, you are a achiever. So how do you manage work life balance with two kids and achieving so much? So I want you to give me a takeaway message on that platform.
Ha. That is it's a very tricky, a very tough question also. So definitely, when people listen to both of us, they would think that we were born genius. But I'll tell to all those who are listening to this podcast, definitely we were not born genius. We were like very normal human beings, and but through all our experiences in life, we have learned And if you take me for that matter, I am very much from, as I told, middle class background, who didn't have all the facilities and infrastructure that that you think is required, but all I had was just the passion, and my parents were kind enough to let me explore that. So definitely they continue to be my support system even now when I have these two kids and I want to travel. But I will tell everybody, especially all the women who think that, if you get married and if you have children, that's all. Life is, that the roads
Yeah.
have come to an end. No, the roads begin actually there, because if you are able to manage two kids and, of course, your husband, because
Yes.
uh, you cannot leave this person out of the quotient, right? In this whole
Yes,
success quotient. So
exactly.
if you're able to manage them, then you can manage anything and everything, because they actually kind of teach you or tell you, uh, give you life's lessons, as how you can manage yourself outside the family. So for that matter, I learned work life balance more after I got married, I should say, because all my career advancements, like being pursuing my masters or my fellowships or my PhD, my diplomate, everything happened only after my marriage, because I got married
Wow.
right after my undergrad immediately. So
Wow.
but I always had this passion, and I also convinced my family as why pursuing this passion is important to keep me happy, as well as to have this, to be able to contribute even as a better mom and a better wife. So of course it's tough. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's all about managing your time wisely. It's not about having 4 hours for
Hmm.
work and 4 hours for family. It's not like that. That's not going to happen. If you think of work life balance as the number of hours, you are never going to achieve it at any point of time, believe me. But because at some point something will be your priority. At some point, you have to
Right.
finish a deadline at work, and that's when you will really forget that you've got family.
Right.
But at some point you will have to forget work and then focus on family. And I think it's about balancing and having quality time in both areas. It's not about going to work and thinking about kids, or it's not about sitting at home and thinking about work. I
Right.
think it's about just being very mindful of what you want to do. And I have learned it in a very tough way, I should say, because I ended up having a lot of burnouts and things like that at some point when I was almost doing my PhD. Like, I know I was becoming
Hmm.
really mad and depressed, as, oh, I had so much to do. I have to finish my thesis, and my kid is crying, and he's not letting me type my thesis. And my poor husband doesn't know what to do with all this, and staring at me like, what's happening here? What is this whole mess? And so I learned it in the hard way, I should say. But it's not easy, but it's definitely worth doing it.
Yeah.
And each one of us have our own ways of doing it, with our own emotional systems, and our own personality types. Each one of us will figure out our own ways. There is no one stop solution, be like, take this advice and go follow this. No, I
Hmm.
don't have such an answer. But it's about being mindful and giving your 100% to whatever you do, and then shifting to the next task. And I would say, stop multitasking, for do one thing at a time. Do one thing at a time, and just do that. And that's what I have learned it in all my years of, I mean, whatever
Wow.
little years of experience that I have got, as a mom, as a wife, as a teacher, as a clinician researcher, as a daughter. Because, yeah, because I have to spend time with my parents also. And
Right.
so that's how I've learned it. Yeah. And yeah, so amidst all the multitasking and mess that you do, don't forget to follow your own passion, and having the self time and care to rejuvenate yourself, because that's another thing that I learned it in the hard way. And now when it comes to me time and my time to just rejuvenate and re-energize myself, there's no compromise. So all these moms and daughters and wives, make sure that you don't have any guilt when it comes to your self time. It's so very important, so that you are able to contribute 100% to rest of the area. So don't end up burning yourself out too much with everybody and everything around. And follow your own passion also. That's important, apart from your profession and your family. So
Thank you for such a good conversation and all the tips that you have shared. If someone would like to connect with you after listening to the podcast, what would be the best way to connect with you?
People who would want to connect with me, of course, I mean, you can put on my email id, so that is definitely the best way to reach out to me. And LinkedIn, of course, things currently that you can seek advice. I will not be very prompt in responding, but I will definitely respond, and my average response time is within 10 days. So
Thank you so much once again for sharing all the experiences and a very important life lesson. Follow your passion, and if you're married or if you have, if you're a woman, have a guilt-free passion and achieve it. You'll always be happy with that. Thank you so much once again for your time. And I will definitely mention all the way to connect with you when I post this podcast. So please do reach out to her. She's a wonderful mentor. Though she says 10 days, I'm sure she reaches out to you much faster than you would expect. Thank you so much, Dr. Rizwana, for all your time.
oh, thanks, Ukti. Yeah, because Ukti definitely, the way that the path that she has traveled to be here right at this stage. I mean, I think I would interview her at some point so that you get to know what is Ukti's travel and journey so far has been like. And thanks so much, Ukti, because during this conversation, I got to question my own self, and recalling your own experiences. It's much joyful, and it inspires you again, right? Oh my goodness, you have also kind of traveled so far, and you can give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
So it's been so wonderful, and wishing all the audience and everybody who listens to this podcast a very very happy, successful, and a blessed 2020. And may you just continue to aspire, inspire, and achieve whatever that you set out to succeed for. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thanks, Ukti. Bye.